sparkah.com/SEO, sparkah.com/SEO, the three most important concepts in search engine optimization strategy. Actually, let me throw in a bonus for you. The three most important concepts that you have to know and understand deeply to be able to get to page 1 of Google are number 1, relevance, number 2, dilution, and number 3, asynchronous. Relevance, dilution, asynchronous. If you don't know what those three things are and you don't know how to apply those three key concepts to your Google SEO strategy, I'm sorry, you're not going to end up on page 1 of Google. And here's the bonus. The second most important search engine is not Bing, it's YouTube. The second most used search engine in the world is YouTube, not Bing. And to help us get found in YouTube, I'm going to ask you for a thumbs up right now. I think the button is down here or there. Your like to view ratio on YouTube is what determines whether you show up on page 1 of a YouTube search for your title. So there you have it, and I do appreciate your thumbs up. Relevance, dilution, and asynchronous. Relevance, if you're getting 10 links from 10 different websites that have nothing to do with the topic that your website talks about, those 10 links are worthless. The 10 links, even if it's just one link that links to your website, has to be totally relevant. The relationship has to be exactly the same. In other words, if your website sells dresses, then what you want is a link from a website that also sells dresses. Your best bet is to get a competitor to link to you. Now that's where it gets tricky. Number 2, let's go with dilution. What is dilution? If you've got a website that has 2 links on it and one of them goes to yours, well, guess what? You only get 50% of the link juice or link power that website has to offer. Literally. So if you're submitting your link to a directory or a blog that has 10 other links or 100 other links, then that's 100 other links. You're only getting 1/100th the link juice. You might as well not even have that link. It's worthless. You're getting a penny out of $1 worth of link juice. So this is why the directories are worthless. Easy to get links are worthless. The links that are worth a lot are from bloggers that only link to one thing. And general rule of thumb, the harder it is to get a link, the more it's worth. So the fewer links on a page that links to you, the more valuable that link is that goes to you. So that's dilution. You want the links to be diluted as little as possible. A 1-to-1 ratio is perfect. Number 3, asynchronous. Asynchronous is important because what that means is that when your page loads, Google looks at 2 different things. What loads at the same time in a linear fashion, like for instance photos. Are the photos that are in your blog post, for example, coming from your server or from a totally different server? And then it adds those 2 times up. Okay, so your HTML code took this much time to load, and then add to the top of that this much more time for a picture to load, and then double that for, let's say, some JavaScript to load. All these issues add up, and Google says, wait, this website took 7 seconds to load. That's huge. You're not going to show up on page 1 of Google. For your website to show up on page 1 of Google, it has to show up totally populate with all content in about 2 seconds or less. Do a time test on it. This is why asynchronous comes in. If you're going to have JavaScript, if you're going to have photos, if you're going to have embedded content, or anything else for that matter, that loads after someone clicks your link in Google, you want it to be asynchronous. In other words, you want Google to think that your website got done loading in a second and a half, even though there's JavaScript or there's photos loading in the background that takes another 7 seconds to load asynchronously, independently. That way Google only sees that your load time is 1.5 seconds. How you know that? Use a fast server and use asynchronous embedded distribution. The fastest server we've tested is at sparka.com/server, sparkah.com/server. Just moving your website from your current server, especially if it's GoDaddy, to the websites that we recommend at sparka.com/server is going to make a huge difference in your Google rank immediately. For help with your marketing, talk to us. We're at sparka.com/marketing, sparkah.com/marketing.